One. And what I like to do, I like to welcome everyone here to the Cancer Conquering community here on this beautiful Thursday. And our special guest is Mr. Georges Cordoba, a longtime brain cancer survivor, cancer coach, hypnotherapist, and a lot of other things. I did a three-part series with him on my YouTube channel. So you can on To Be Your Own Hero. So you can go see him there as well. And so what I'd like to do is bring him on, Mr. Georges Cordoba. Please introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and let's hear some great stuff today.
Great. Well, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the country. I'm in New Mexico, so I'm on time. Yeah, my name is Georges Cordoba, and I'm going to go back a little bit. I know we have only about 30 minutes, but my parents come from after World War II. My dad's family migrated from Spain to Venezuela. And then my Greek side of the family, after World War II, migrating from Greece to Venezuela, and these two families met. So it was a miracle. My mom and dad got married, and my sister and I were born in Caracas, Venezuela. And it was a great thing until I was 18. Then I came here to play tennis, NCAA Division One. I got a scholarship, and I was able to study software engineering. But I want to let you know that my Greek side of the family, and this is really important in my story. When I was 4 years old, and I remember this, I lost my grandfather, my Greek grandfather, from colon cancer. And then about 2 years later, one of his brothers died of cancer. About 7 months later, another brother of him died of cancer. Then two of my grandmother's sisters died of cancer, and so forth. Then my mother's cousin, my godfather, died of cancer. Then my uncle, my mother's brother, died of cancer. And finally, 3 weeks before my diagnosis, my dear mother died of cancer. So when I looked at the family landscape from the Greek side, I felt I was doomed. I really feared the disease, not only because of cancer, but I saw everyone that had it dying. Nobody made it. And 3 weeks after my dear mom it passes from cancer, I get diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma. So at that moment, I just said, man, I knew it. And if you have read anything about the mind or The Secret and all this stuff, I got what I feared. At the age of 42, I was diagnosed with malignant melanoma, which I fought for 10 years, and I had 10 surgeries. But four of those surgeries were craniotomies because the disease went to my brain. So I had 8 tumors in my brain. This is on year 8. We found out the first tumor was in the front lobe, and it was a successful surgery. But I, like everyone else, I agreed to have radiotherapy in my head, and 2 months later, I had 8 more tumors, melanoma. 6 more tumors in my brain. So at the end of the day, it was 10 surgeries, but 4 craniotomies and 2 gamma knives. And then after all that, there were 2 tumors in my back lobe that were not operable. And so they had to just really take a look at it and just watch them to see. They were stagnant for a while. Then they started to slowly but surely grow a little bit. But there's nothing to do with that. They're not operable. So pharmaceuticals almost destroy my body. I have to be honest on this stuff. One of the things that Stephen got, I have it as a present, by the way. I already posted a link in the chat. Let me see, is it still there? Yeah. That's for you guys. It's a gift of stuff that you'll be able to download. It includes several things that I'll say, and I don't want to get you guys distracted, but that's for you guys. It has some great stuff that you can probably practice along with your process right now with your chemos and wherever you are with oncology and stuff. So, but on year 8, after this first craniotomy, they gave me this new drug, this new chemo that finally they say penetrated the brain. And so I accepted that. It was in capsules. By that time, imagine 8 years on, it was surgery, treatment, remission, reoccurrence, surgery, treatment, remission, reoccurrence for 8 years. And so then all of a sudden I get this, I was in remission, perfect. And I get this headaches and so forth. I started to lose my vision a little bit, started stuttering. And actually talking to my clients in Spanish, my native language. And so my wife really got, and the kids, we had 5 young kids, a blessing to have those 5 young kids. Now we're grandparents, but at the time, it was just, it was crazy. And when I was on this eighth year, and that was gonna be my 9th surgery, they gave me this chemo, and it was, by the way, $1,000 a capsule. I was pretty much broke. We had to tap into 401ks, IRAs, college funds for the kids, because for almost 2 years, I could not work. It was only my wife and caregiver, an angel, that was taking care of everything. We just went up from being very successful. At the time, I was the CTO, Chief Technology Officer, in Southeast Florida, Miami, Florida, company there. And all of a sudden, we get this tsunami that really was emotional, financial, and obviously physical for me. But on this 8th year, when I started these pills, it was for me to take every day 1 capsule for 5 days, take a break for a week, and then start again. So on my 6th capsule, I really thought this stuff was killing me. I was all over the place. I was over the roof, so tight, and anxiety all over my body. And so I'm a person of faith. I fail to say this, but I am a believer. And I know, and this is something that is very, very, very important, that faith without action is dead, as James said. But if you take action, on whatever mountain you have in front of you, you'll move it. You'll move your mountain. This stuff happens from the inside out. We have a lot of stuff in the medical world, great surgeons. They're still struggling with the chemos and different things, because there's so many different types of cancer, even from colon cancer, as one of you guys just said. But at that moment, with that 6th capsule, I went to church, to the chapel. I kneeled, I cried my butt off, and I surrendered. I said, Lord, these guys are all of them are helping me, great surgeons in cancer, and Sylvester Cancer Center, and the University of Miami Hospital. But this thing is not going away. And so I'm here to let you know that I would appreciate if you could give me a couple of years so I could see my daughter have her first communion. She was 7 years old. My kids graduated from, the other kids, the older ones graduated from high school. The important stuff. I didn't think about my cars, the house we had, and all this stuff. I just thought of what was important. But I also thought, my friends, of the things that I have failed to do. And maybe I did not have time to accomplish those things. So, this is a message of trying to what is really important in our life. But at that moment in church, I decided that I was going to stop the conventional treatments and go natural, take the holistic health route to heal myself. And this past July, it was my 12th year free of cancer. And the thing when I made that decision, I have doctors in the family, a surgeon and family doctors in my family. My daughter's godfather is a surgeon. Everybody thought I was crazy. Do not do that. Keep going with your treatments and stuff. And guess what happened to me? It happens to 8 million other people, I realize, in the US. This stuff, I realized it wasn't working for me. So I really had this choice. Do I keep going in this loop? Surgery, treatment, new treatment, quote unquote, remission, recurrence. I thought, no, I'm not going to live like this. I was on year 8 on this. So I decided to go natural. And many things happened when I surrendered. When I surrendered to God, it seems that, and I explain this in my book, that he sent angels in the form of humans, people that I had no idea that will step forward to help my wife, mainly because, she's now taking care of 6 people, not the 5 kids, but now I'm another kid there in fetal position trying to overcome the chemo effects for me. My effect was within hours. I was basically shivering, like I had a strong cold, and I just, it was crazy. I could not control that. So that started happening, and one of the angels, and this is going to be sounding a little bit familiar with you, Steve, but one of these angels told me, it was my best buddy, doubles partner in the university, here in school and college at New Mexico State. She says, Georgie, my sister had hepatitis, and she went to this naturopath in Palm Beach, and I would love for you to go there. And, I was open for good advice. And since I decided to go natural, I said, yeah, why not? So I had an appointment. I met this guy. He passed 2 years ago. But when he started talking, it was like he was, preaching to the choir. It's everything made so much sense. And he's the guy that told me about a pH, how important it is to have a balanced pH. Because what happens, guys, all chronic disease, including cancer, starts in an acidic body, in an inflamed body. All our tissues are inflamed. And we do that to ourselves, nobody else. So when he said that, he says, so now let's do the scan. It was like biofeedback. It was non-invasive, and it was not approved by the FDA. He got it from Germany, I think he was. So he does this scan, and I could see myself inside on a screen. And boy, my whole body was like if it was the 4th of July. It was just like so lit up. And he says, all the stuff is acidity. So we got to work on taking and bringing that acidity out and taking it out. When your balanced pH now is too acidic. And guess what, Georges? Disease cannot grow on a balanced pH body, which you'll have that ebook that you received, you guys, everybody else in that link. I'll tell you what else you have in there. It's really awesome. And I hope you guys use it, take action on that. So he says, and you're sick, but if you manage to have, now we're going to do that, to balance your pH, you're going to destroy the environment that these cells grow and strive to duplicate. because that's their environment and a sitting body. So that made so much sense to me. We went ahead and had a 21-day detox or reset, as he called. And then we had another scan after 21 days, and it was like night and day. It was just amazing to see this. Then he says, let's take a break for a week, and then we do another 21 days. Through that period, everyone in my life, my friends, my colleagues, family, they cannot believe it. They say, how are you doing? You look different. I'm saying, I'm feeling great. I'm just feeling great, By the way, when I decided to do that, I went and talked to my oncologist, and this doesn't happen all the time. Several of my clients try to, to do some, basically, unless you're working with them with the chemos and stuff. So not everybody, I'm not saying that everybody does this, but in these occasions, they said, look, if you're not going to take chemo, I cannot work with you. Because what I did, I talked to my oncologist. I went over there and said, look, doctor, I'm stopping. And he goes, are you sure, Georges? I said, yeah, I'm sure. But I would appreciate if you continue to do my follow-ups. And he agreed. And he said, okay, well, we'll do that. And again, this is after prayer and just being ready to go and talk these things with people, So he said, well, and if whatever you're doing is with your nature doesn't work, we can always get back. Maybe there's new drugs and stuff like that. So that's what we did. So I went to see this guy, this naturopath, and everything changed. And that's when I started. After that, I started juicing a lot. But I never, and I'm a nutritionist, I became a nutritionist, I never really stopped eating a balanced diet. In other words, I don't believe in going, as a nutritionist, going to extremes, keto, paleo, vegetarian, vegan. No, as long as you know how to prepare a plate. Let's say you have red meat, which is acidic. Part of what you're going to get today is a table that shows which foods are acidic and which foods are alkaline. So you can have a plate that is alkaline. If you're going to have red meat, I don't recommend to do it every day, then mix it with greens, with stuff that has color, tomatoes, asparagus, a salad. So the salad is very alkaline and it offsets the acidity of the meat. That's on the physical body. But when I decided to go holistic, the natural route, I have to tell everybody here, and there's something there that you're gonna be able to listen. I have a couple of guided meditation. One is for women, for forgiveness meditation, and one for men. And why I say this, a holistic being, my friends, we're not just a body, a physical body. We have emotions. We have an emotional self. We have a mindset, a mental body, and then we have a spiritual body. So I use this metaphor of a table. The table has four legs. One is your physical body, one is your mental body, the other one is your emotional body, and then your spiritual body. Which, by the way, it doesn't necessarily have to be religion. It's just embracing, having this connection to this creator, through Mother Nature, through you, all of you guys and I, we're connected soul-wise. We're exactly the same. So just hugging a tree, you might think I'm crazy, but I got into hugging trees, and you will not believe the healing energy that you feel in there. You're giving your energy and receiving the energy of the tree. Obviously, do it during the day, because during the night they produce carbon dioxide. So I have to share this as well. All disease, this is found out. Actually, I learned this from a dermatologist. They just did research, and all diseases are also emotional. So guess what? You will continue to have recurrences until you find the root cause of what created the cancer. Okay, and I've been doing this almost 7.5 years. I did another leap of faith and transition from being a CTO to becoming a holistic health coach, hypnotherapist, and all this other stuff. And I do speaking. I was just in Ontario, Gary, or was it? Yeah, one of you guys, and Boyd left. But I'm back in September sharing my story and this stuff that I'm going to tell you if I have another 5 minutes. So from the emotional perspective, I started to work. I read a book by the title Emotional Intelligence. Well, actually, it was given to me for another angel, but in there, it gave me kind of like a spark to say, oh, wow, let me explore my emotions. And Spanish and Greek people are very emotional, by the way. So I found out that the role of forgiveness in our healing process. So I basically look out for people that hurt me. And even when I was 8, 12, 7, in school, grade school, in the beginning of middle school, and I reached out to them. One had passed away. I had to do some surrogate work. But the other ones, guess what? They didn't even remember that they hurt me. But I reached out and said, look, I forgive you. And they said, wow, you don't remember, man, well, I'm sorry, and this, that, and the fact that I did that, and then I really asked for forgiveness. All of us make mistakes. And, in my case, I hurt emotionally, I hurt several girlfriends in college and before. I was just very, I guess, selfish, and as a tennis player, you become self-centered. So I went and asked for forgiveness. Guess what? They didn't remember, but I did. I was holding all this venom on me, which produces cortisol and serotonin, which really makes your body acidic. So I did that, and then I did the hardest one, forgiving myself. But I tell you, if you have anything or you suspect that you have issues, emotional issues in there, try to clear that clutter, and you're gonna feel this grand piano off your shoulders. For me, when I did that, it could have been a coincidence, but I never had a recurrence again. Then on the mental side, because I was preparing myself with mental rehearsing to compete, and doing some eating to win type of stuff that was there in the 90s. I'm sorry, the late 70s and through mid 80s, many of the tennis gurus, tennis champions wrote books about eating to win. So that's when I did a little bit of a minor in nutrition, and I had no idea that I was going to go through what I was going through. But here's one thing. I have a chapter in my book called A Gift for Life. And this is what happened. My dad used to play, he played Davis Cup, if you know tennis a little bit. So he played Davis Cup. And when I was growing up, I started hitting the ball with him after he practiced. I was 3 or 4. But from then on, people would say, Georgie, are you going to be as good as your dad? Are you going to be as good as your dad? And that put a lot of pressure on me. So when he came to watch me, I would play really, really bad and lose. So I had to really work mentally on this stuff. So anyway, years passed. I came to college. I was a junior in college. I go back to Venezuela to play the South American Open, and I wasn't even seated. There was 32 seats, and I wasn't seated. But it so happened that I got to the finals. I beat a bunch of folks, and I was in the zone. I get to the finals, and I have to play my role model. This guy was a Davis Cup player in Venezuela, about 80 years older than me. When I was 10, I would see him playing on category 18. And I was beating this guy, and then at the end of the match, he started throwing lobs and stuff and got me off of my mind. And I lost. I lost in almost 5 hours, in 5 sets. But our teacher, our common teacher, came to see us. He was already older, and we were both so honored that this happened. I'll go real quick. I lose, I go embrace. Freddie also went to embrace Professor Savi. He was a French guy, a tennis player, great coach. And Freddie leaves, and that master, we call him Master Savi, he says, George, you know that you lost here. You lost in your mind. You're playing awesome. I'm surprised how good you're playing. And you're a junior now? And I said, yeah, I'm going for my senior year. Okay, so remember, it was in the mind. Real quick, he invited me to go to lunch. It was one day before I was coming back to the States to come here to New Mexico and play my senior year. And during lunch, he gives me this book. This book is titled The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Murphy, written like in 1910, 1912. That book is the gift of life for me. He says, look, when you get home, you're going to have 2 weeks before you start the competition in school. Read the book before that and put everything you learned there to practice. And I did. And my tennis just went. I was actually, I won the award of the Comeback Player of the Year because I would visualize myself when we shook hands, being the one that won. And but he said, it's not only going to help you with your tennis, but it's going to help you with the rest of your life. When I got sick, I started to use those things, particularly when I went natural, because you see, and you all know this, I don't have to repeat this, but man, it is just a life change when you get diagnosed, and now you whatever you do in your life, you have to add another portion of your routine to go get tested, biopsies, surgery, treatments, and we all know that really takes a toll. And but particularly when I decided to go natural, I started to, for example, mentally. By the way, my friends, you're gonna have this in your gift. There are 13 rules of the mind. And this is something that basically all hypnotherapists get. I didn't know about this when I was sick, but I had that amazing book. And one of the rules is that in the West particularly, we all go running to an oncologist. There's no other option. There's no alternative. And it's normal, it's the norm. I mean, if I tell you that now, so I don't tell my clients, hey, I did this, you ought to do this. No, it doesn't work that way. But there's another 12 rules of the mind that they can use to better manage their situation, and you're going to have it in there. But I'll tell you, for example, one, the mind, my friends, learns by repetition, okay? And so it doesn't know, that's another rule, it doesn't know tomorrow or yesterday, so it's in the present moment. So if you start repeating, you close your eyes, take a little time for you, 10, 15 minutes. I did this 3 times a day, okay, for a few minutes. And I will say, I am healed. I am healed. I am healed. I look in the mirror and I will say, I love you, George. I love you, George. I love you, George, for a minute. It's the hardest thing, the hardest minute. It seems like a century. But doing this stuff, after the ego surrenders, because the ego is going to say, hey, I don't know, Gary, come on. You believe this? No way, Dean. It's just, no, it does happen. So you continue with faith that your subconscious, what happens? The rule is that the mind does everything you say, you think, and you visualize. And it does everything possible with the subconscious mind and your body to make it happen. So that's where faith started to come into play. One, obviously, when I decided to live the traditional treatments, but regardless, no matter that where you are right now, if you want to prevent disease, because I'm now more of an advocate for that. By referral, I get a lot of clients from that are going through cancer. But the point is prevent the disease. What happens in you? That's why I did hypnotism. What clutter do you have in there emotionally and mentally? So we reframe that. Are you eating too fast? Do you chew 8 times and then swallow? As a nutritionist, I tell you that doesn't work. The stomach is designed to receive processed food. So we process the food in our mouth with our saliva enzymes. But if you chew 6 times, the average in the US is 6 times and you swallow. I'm not sure in Canada, but when you're supposed to chew at least 20 times, so the saliva enzymes can, process the food. Plus, you taste the food even better. You don't have to be in a hurry to eat. Most people eat in 10 minutes in the US. You should take at least 20 minutes to have your meal. Slow down. There's some tips in there also in this gift I'm giving you. So, in other words, emotions and the mind also play a big role in this. I used to visualize this Pac-Man creature. Remember the Pac-Man game? I used to visualize this creatures eating up all the tumors in my body 2-3 times a day. I mean, just based on some of the test results, I will go to that area and just go in there and continue to say, I am healed. This thing is eating all this stuff. And because of my faith, I would see this holy ray coming through you choose the color. For me, is 2 of the colors from Jesus' heart, which is light pink and light blue, coming through my head and going all the way through my feet, melting anything that is not good for me. I would not just think of just tumors. So those are the 2 legs of the table are very important. We're not just a physical body. And then, so imagine if one of those legs on the table, or 2, I find out that many people have 2 of those legs missing. You can't eat on the table can't stand. That's us. We need to tighten up each leg of that table, regardless what we're doing to manage our disease. The other thing that I didn't put in there, because obviously most of you already, have been a while fighting the disease, is a questionnaire for the oncologist. And I got this from a fellow survivor, Chris Work. Maybe you guys have heard him. I quote him in my book. He had colon cancer, got it removed, but he stood up the oncologist. He's a person of faith. He says no, but he created this questionnaire because here's the deal: the oncologist is not God. He's trying to help you. You're reaching out for him to try to help you heal. Okay, that's pretty much it. But what happens, because of that rule of the mind, we give this person all our power. I have met in Canada, by the way, now in September, I met a holistic MD. He's a medical doctor that got cancer, not an oncologist, just a medical doctor. So he did what everybody does, chemo and radio. 3 years into it, he says, this is not working. I'm going to continue to do this, but I'm going to investigate. I'm going to explore what else is out there, and I can work on it. So now he calls himself a holistic MD. And he uses a lot of what he learned to heal with his patients, but that's not the norm. So in a few words, we're basically 4 things. And they, we'll never get to balance the 4, by the way. The Chinese say that the only time that we have a complete balance is when we are born and when we're leaving, when we're just passing. Those 2 times we're completely in balance. Okay, so I do have a couple of quotes, and then you guys can ask me some questions. I have a session for Central is 12:15. So, but these are 2 quotes that I have in my book And I think, you guys will like it. One is, it says, in the realm of ideas, everything depends on enthusiasm. In the real world, everything depends on perseverance. And this is a quote by Van Gogh, the painter Van Gogh. And here's another one. And this I see in this community. When Mark invited me, he got me, because it's all about, giving each other support. And I just love it. I have invited some of my former clients and my current clients. Only one so far has come, but it's okay. So here's the second one, and then you can ask me questions. Anyone can give up. It is the easiest thing to do in the world. It's the easiest thing in the world. But to hold it together when everyone else would understand if you fell apart, that's real strength. And this is by Chris Bradford. And that's what I see here. I see real strength, and I'm so happy. I didn't ask you, Mark, after we finish, how are you doing? You're an example for all of us. And boy, imagine 17 marathons. So anyway, this is a short way to do my Move Your Mountains talk. So if I have one other minute, what do I mean by you can move your mountains? Well, it's all based on the famous biblical verse of the mustard seed, okay? And which says if you have faith as big as a mustard seed, which is the smallest seed in the world, you could tell this mountain to move from here to there, and it would. Okay, that's really but the message is one of the mountains, and here the common for us is cancer. That's our mountain. But there is drug addiction is a mountain, alcoholism, divorce, losing your country from, just crazy leaders, war, losing somebody that you dearly love. And so those are mountains. You can move your mountains if you put your faith into action. And faith, my friends, is the certainty of what you want, because you know that if you take action, and all of you, I guess, are taking action, but then this source will conspire to make it happen. But the key is no magic wand. You have to take action. And I just hope, as I tell my clients, that take advantage of some of the stuff I gave you guys, and also live in the present moment. Try to have some time for you to nourish yourself, meditate, visualize, like I told you. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna add to this. Don't bring that down until, like, let's say 2 hours from now. But I'm going to put there a list of affirmations for you to just say it out loud or internally, but repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. You're going to see a difference. You're going to feel some transformation going along the way. And everybody can do it, because I am a believer that healing happens from the inside out. The other stuff is part of the arsenal, I tell my clients. So use more weapons. Go and look, explore the forgiveness, explore this. These are additional weapons to chemo, and don't leave that if you don't want to. But do these other things and see how you're gonna feel. All right. So with that, I'd like to finish up real quick with this prayer. Mark had asked me.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Before we get to that,
Yeah.
thank you, Georges. I want to bring out a couple of things. And Georges, if you could repost the giveaway back in the chat. There's some people that can't see it for some reason. I'm not sure. So if you could do that. But one point I want to bring out that George's uh, that'll kind of reflect on George's whole presentation is this. Uh, so many people think that and you brought it up, so many people think that getting cancer is just about going to your oncologist and doing what they say. And George brought out one of the things that he and I both agree on 100%. Treating cancer is about treating your whole being and not just going and getting treatments. So, he talked about diet, he talked about mental attitude, he talked about hypnotherapy, he talked about forgiveness. And so, what you want to do, in my opinion, and in George's, is to treat the whole being of who you are. And, because, and I've done probably just about everything that George's has mentioned. Um, Forgiveness is a huge thing. And so it's very, very important. And I did that same thing. I went through hypnotherapy and it really helped me. And I completely agree with the things that you said. So if you haven't explored some of these things, open up your mind and check them out because it can't hurt you. These are things that are, natural and and it can only provide a benefit for you.
Hmm.
Now, real quickly, as far as forgiveness goes, I think that is such an important thing that you mentioned, Georges, and for you to go back and I did the same thing. I had a rift with a couple of family members, two brothers, and because I was with the family business for 25 years and I just left because I just couldn't stand their negative attitude. Every single day I kept saying to myself, why am I here? Why am I here? It didn't make any sense. And so I left and it caused a big rift in the family. And so when I experienced this couple, it's been 2 or 3 years now, I don't remember exactly when, I decided to uh, say I'm sorry to both of them, because it's a two-way street. It, both sides looked at it like it was all the other side's fault, and that's not the case. It takes both sides, usually, especially in something big like a family thing. And so I reached out to both of them, and the one brother accepted it, and one didn't, which was fine. At least I made the effort. And now what turns out to be interesting is the one that did accept my apology. He and I get along great now, which is really, really great. That's a hidden benefit to the situation. And the one that didn't accept it, it's fine. But at least I made the effort, and I made and my intention was good, and I did everything I could do in the situation. He just chose, that's just the way he is. And he was probably the main reason I left because of his negativity. I just couldn't, I'm just allergic to negativity, and I couldn't stand being around him. And my life, when I left there, my life changed for the better because I didn't have to be surrounded by a toxic situation. So Georges, thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
all of that. And let's take questions from people. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording right now. And if, for those who have questions, you can come back on. Let me stop the recording. And thank you so much for joining us at Cancer Conquering Community. Please like, subscribe, and make a comment in the video section. Thank you.